The linguistic system of English and to master the structure, sentence and paragraph structure to be able to produce different types of writing, either as a homework or class assignments. Enhancing learners, this is in general, enhancing learners, EFL, first year learners acquiring the range of writing proficiencies needed for producing understandable and effective paragraphs is our ultimate goal. Here, as we have, in spite of the just this is history of our learners, in spite of the 6 years of formal of English learning these students have had in the past, during the middle school and secondary school, they still face difficulties in their writing based on live EFL experience. Okay, face difficulties in the writing. That learners have not been armed yet with the abilities that could facilitate a written production, then poor quality of the student achieving the writing. At this level, a lot of questions are raised. What impedes our learners to write well in home situation and in official exams? In other words, what are the possible causes behind our learners' writing problems? What can be suggested or put forward as a solutions to these problems or remedies? This is the data presentation and analysis. Of course, here you have, through, as you know, due to the time constraints, so I'm not going to give you all the questionnaires because in my research I followed. Yeah, you can take photos. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I followed. Descriptive because I have not finished the experimental to show the effectiveness of these strategies. Yes. Just, my research is based on the descriptive method, just through the questionnaire addressed to learners on one hand, and the questionnaire to teachers who teach in the department, and then through the analysis of written text skills, writing skills. We have grammar, syntax, vocabulary, spelling, writing skills, organization, cohesive devices, coherence, mechanics. Let's say, students, through the analysis of written text produced by EFL first year university students, we find they have problems either in the two language skills and writing skills. Here, the data was derived from written exams assigned to EFL first year students in different modules, as I have said to you at the beginning, in our department. Students who learn English to become teachers, future teachers in English, they study, on one hand, language, of course, modules, example, reading comprehension, grammar, etc., and content modules concerns the British civilization, American civilization, of course, etc., yes? And then, during first semester, to describe their weaknesses, which are presented in the following table. Look to the weaknesses, of course, here, lack of control of syntactic structure, inadequate knowledge of writing mechanics, limited vocabulary size or register. Let's say they don't have enough vocabulary in order to express their ideas, of course. And insufficient composing strategies, especially the two, drafting and revising. Let's say they never use the example proofreading. Yes, always the first drafts are the last one. Is it clear? And lack of knowledge, this is, as I said to you, through my context, is it clear? Lack of knowledge of cursive ties and discourse organizing connectors, inability to expand short paragraphs into the whole text or the whole composition. Okay? Here, I have selected only two, as you know, due to time, I have selected only two questionnaires. Okay, questions. Question one, addressed from the teacher's questionnaire. What problems, difficulties do you face when teaching the writing skill? Is it clear? Okay. Through this question, we wanted to know if there are other problems to write a skill besides the noun ones, indeed we received a huge number of where teachers provide us with some problems and were classified in terms of priority in the table inadequate mastery of grammar by students, and we have the students' limited vocabulary size, and deficient teaching methods or ineffective teaching methods, and the students' lack of motivation, and L1 interference or negative transfer, and other here this is the teacher's beliefs on the source of students' writing problems. Here we have the percentage, as you have seen, grammar, I think A, you have just 10 teachers in our department, is it there? Here you have the percentage, here grammar, and E, yes, the percentage, yes. Let's say, as you know, we have, in fact, in our country, we have first language, the Arabic, and second language is French, and the third language is English. Is the interference of both French and L1 Arabic, and in addition to the French language, to the interference, of course. Here, and this is a question I have selected from the students' questionnaire. What linguistic problems do you face when writing a composition? Here, grammar, ideas and the organization, vocabulary, mechanics, L1 interference. Look to the percentage of the students. Here, you have 33.33% are grammar. Of course, and you have seen the percentage, and in addition to the E is the here L1 interference. Is it clear? Because as a matter of fact, in our department, students think in the L1 and they write in English. So, as you know, to think in one language and to write in another language, these two, making errors, of course, as you have seen. As a matter of fact, example, in our language, we have not the capitalization. It doesn't exist in the first language, capitalization. In the exam, when they write their names, they write italics, because the intervention of the influence of the L1. Is it clear? Example, just their names, not to write a paragraph to respect the indentation, capitalization after full stop. Is it clear? They say the influence of because this structure, due to the omission, as you know, sources of errors is due to the omission, doesn't exist in their L1. So it is common among our learners. Here and then we go quickly, as you have seen, we move to the remedies or the relevant remedies. Of course, as I said to you, just attempt to, to solve or to get rid of these problems. As you know, it is not to adapt, is it clear? To adopt, because maybe in other universities you have different teachers, is it clear? According to the Algerian, to this context. Here, the following suggestions and relevant remedies or strategies may be useful to deal with learners' writing difficulties and develop learners' abilities in weaker areas. First is, according to this study, facing three kinds of problems. In composition, because the linguistic, psychopedagogy, and psychoprogram. What should as teachers do then? Here, from our analysis and the interpretation to the different first-year student writing, we have to come to the following results. First-year students have major writing difficulties in constructing complete sentences, using verb tense, and in choosing appropriate words accurately. Causes are mainly attributed to the poor grammar knowledge, interference or negative transfer from L1, limited vocabulary size, construction of ideas and organization.
What do you mean exactly by
excuse me, when I finish, because
I didn't know.
Oh, sorry, yes. Here, as you have seen, now the strategies. Instruction, number one, instruction of explicit grammar and written expression lessons in our classes. Here, As you know, grammar is the railway through which our message will be transformed. Without it, in the same way as, as a train can't move, learners can't write unless they master grammar. I think it's clear. Let's say grammar is very, very important. The result of the present study indicate an urgent need in upgrading students' basic linguistic competence. Teaching lessons on important grammar points like type of sentences, sentence structure, type of phrases, syntax, word order, etc. What I have here, as we know, in the first semester, our learners, learn just part of speech. Is clear. Now at this time, now in the first year university, they don't need to study the parts of speech. Yes, they studied them in the past. Yes, now we concentrate the pedagogical program should be focused on this. Basically, how to write, to combine the parts of speech to write sentences, yes, or phrases or different, of course, let's say, ineffective, pedagogical program for the first year. Here, data analysis indicated first year students have problems or difficulty in language, as you have seen in the previous table. Therefore, this course aspect of writing should be emphasized and covered in first semester. As Gabriel 2000 confirmed our finding, stating that language accuracy, although important, cannot alone lead to sufficient writing, which needs writing skills to be developed as well, as you have seen in the previous table. Grammar teachers and written expression teachers, of course, should need to get together to discuss coordination, cooperation between them in order to discuss the weaknesses as which the learners face. Is it clear? In order to prepare lessons in order to overcome their weaknesses or to create abilities in weaker areas, of course. Look here, types of phrases, syntax, and word order. Therefore, used are highly common in the first semester. What I have said to you, in our program, we teach just part of speech. As you know, we have more than 8 parts of speech. Is it clear? And it's 3 months. Is it clear? And you should concentrate. Our pedagogy program should concentrate on the how to write sentences. Is it clear? Because parts of speech they don't need during the first year at university. They just have seen them in the previous school, of course, in middle school or secondary school. Here, the second strategy, vocabulary. As you have seen, weaknesses, students, they can't express themselves because of the lack of words. Is it clear? As you have seen, at the level of university, I can't have 2,000 words in English. So it is an obstacle, of course, to our learners to express them because of the lack of the vocabulary. Here, as I have suggested, they say, you as teachers, we should set more activities based on reading or extensive reading. Basically, let's say you're reading in the classroom and set activities, extensive reading as a homework. Here, as you have seen, as you know, if you would be a writer first, be a reader. Is it clear? It's clear. Good readers always are good, writers. So teachers should emphasize extensive reading among their learners. Here, now strategy number 3, selective error correction and class conference. I think this is the best thing in order to to solve the problem, to wasting time, of course, in the correcting every grammar mistake or error made by learners, just to select the most common, is clear, and then through the selective and class conference, and then here more writing training and practice, and look to the fact, as you have seen, our students to be honest, is clear. Students, some students, they have never written at least 2 paragraphs through the whole academic year. Yes, just copy down identical as a homework set by a teacher, just to copy down identical paragraphs or compositions from their relatives. Is clear? Or to rely on the best students. Is clear? I mean, the majority of students, yes, they don't have more training and practice. Let's say teachers should, oblige learners to, of course, to write under the supervision of the teacher inside the classroom, of course. Look here, okay, to be honest, the majority of learners don't practice composition writing either in the class or at home. The whole academic year, what the learners just do is to copy down identical composition from the best learners, or they rely on their relatives in their, to write in their homework. Okay, here number one, ones of the L1 interference, as we have seen. The reason why students they make transfer or negative transfer, because of lack of knowledge. Is it clear? How to diminish the L1 interference through to have linguistic competence. Look here. L1 transfer, in order to reduce the number of mistakes due to the negative transfer, but we also need to try to teach more effectively the rules and conventional writing. Teachers can give a few error analysis exercises that would help students be more accurate. EFL learners make L1 transfer when they need to produce in their L1 target language because of the lack of L2 competence. Is it clear? This is lack of L2 target language, lack of competence. Let's say automatically we use the L1. Let's say what we should here, because of the lack of L1 competence, the influence of the L1 diminishes as students acquire more. Is it clear? Let's say when you have more knowledge or linguistic competence in target language, let's say you don't need to minimize the L1 interference through the, linguistic competence in L2 or in foreign language. Here, the reviewing the teaching and writing methodology. This is the, as you have seen, 20% are due to the ineffective teaching methodology. EFL teachers will still focus or follow or focus on the traditional method in teaching compositions, concentrating on the final product rather than on the process. So, our teachers, our colleagues still misunderstand the writing process until now. In EFL classes, teachers give importance to the mechanics, grammar, etc., without teaching writing strategies, pre-writing, while writing, and post-writing. Why I have said to you at the beginning, our learners, their first drafts are the final ones, because they don't know, they don't, be taught the strategies of writing. Is it clear? I myself have been making an effort to see pedagogical methods which need to help, deal with the mentioned problems. And I assume that adopting the process approach could be a more effective strategy. Many studies on the effectiveness of this approach have proved that it can be applied in EFL writing classes to solve the above problems or the mentioned problems. This process approach calls for providing and maintaining a positive, encouraging, and collaborating workshop environment, as Silva Studio 2002. Students' quality of EFL writing is evaluated in the basis of the final product. And grammatical and linguistic accuracy, furthermore, due to this product focus, students pay little attention to the whole process of writing. And they know very little about writing strategies, as I have said in the past. The gains of the process approach in writing can only be realized if students have an understanding of the various phases. Teachers should teach writing strategies through different activities. Learners can use a revision process in asking specific questions. For instance, have I checked my spelling? As you know, proofreading is the process checking the draft for as far as the grammar and spelling is concerned. Let's say through my experience, our students, they don't use this strategy because they ignore, because they are not taught by teachers the different strategies of writing strategies. Okay, we try to summarize. To solve learners' problem by effective teaching writing, we, as teachers of writing, we need to combine the three writing approaches: the product, the process, and the general approaches. Okay, why the gen? Because as you know, in academic setting, students, of course, write different topics, different text types. So we combine the three processes: the product and the process and the general approach. We need to change our focus from writing to learning to write, as Communities 2000 suggests, awareness raising, in which learners have guided to discover identity, specific aim of good writing, and features of different text types. Here, adequate responsive educational pedagogical program for EFL first year university students. Look here, based on live EFL classroom teaching experience is that EFL first year students are asked to produce short written texts composition at the end of the first semester in order to answer examination questions in different modules. Okay. Both in language module and content subject modules, but the fact that they have not even taught how to write a paragraph is clear. They have just learn how to, what is a noun, what is a part of speech, is clear? And in the exam, first semester, they are asked to write a paragraph they have never seen, is clear? So, as I have suggested here, okay, writing and teaching writing are highly recommended in the first semester in written expression courses. In addition, grammar courses where we find some courses should be added and some other should be omitted at all. For instance, parts of speech are included in the first semester. As a matter of fact, they are no longer in need, since learners have just seen them before during their school. What our learners need to learn now is how to combine this part of speech to write complete and meaningful sentences, okay, coherent, clear, and well-organized ideas, choose suitable, appropriate words, and using mechanics appropriately. Here, as I have said to you, look here, said by a coder, we can't really teach language. We create, we can only create conditions that say motivation, anxiety, etc., the affective factors. What we have analyzed from, both from teacher and learners questionnaires, learners don't only suffer from linguistic problems, but they also suffer from psychological ones. As we have mentioned before, the motivation, anxiety, frustration, etc. The affective factors, as you have seen, can be solved by the teacher himself. It's the teacher's responsibility to conquer them through teaching methods, teaching means. Let's say when you use in our classes, okay, in the department, we don't use the audiovisual aids. Basically, as you know, audiovisual aids, okay, motivate our learners. Just we use the traditional, just a lecture, teacher-centered, of course. Basically, through changing the means, materials, etc. Of course, we can overcome the psychological problems. It means how to motivate our learners, of course, to learn and to write. Here, a conclusion, this study identified, described, and diagnosed linguistic, psychopedagogy, and psychological problems. So the main source of common problems encountered by EFL first year university students at the Department of English, University of Biskra, Alger, and some remedial were proposed to overcome synergy weaknesses in poor grammar knowledge, L1 interference, limited vocabulary, size, and organized, which are the major causes of their writing. Okay, errors. In other words, to get rid of the first problem, which is students' poor linguistic competence, by introducing explicit grammar lessons, selective error correction, and class conference, and awareness of L1 interference as strategy to help students write accurate, complete English sentences. Students will make fewer errors in correct verb, form, verb tense, and missing subject, etc. If we grasp the basic grammatical points essential to English writing and know the general conventions of writing. Here, growth of vocabulary size and vocabulary knowledge is anticipated with extensive reading, as you have seen, extensive voluntary reading, etc. The other causes, which are effective teaching methods, stood up for interest, to reviewing the methodology used by the majority of teachers. Teachers are not conscious of the theoretical aspect of methodology, concepts of language acquisition, okay, and according to which they still focus on product, not on the process. They misunderstand the writing process, although writing is a process, but there is an end which we call it the product. Integrating the process of writing, teaching writing strategies, more writing practice, more group work, collaborative work, as you know, the process approach among EFL learners. Learners need to know or to be aware of the entire process of writing they go through. When they produce a piece of writing, they are going to accustom themselves to the different writing stages, as I have said to you, proofreading, etc., and to write in different text types. Therefore, the teaching of writing should incorporate various approaches rather than just being confined to just one. There are some strategies that have brought some positive, but changed the traditional way of teaching, learning writing skills. Surely they are not the best or the only ones. Okay, they are remedial studies that I have personally found worth trying and motivating. Finally, teachers need to understand the writing problems because if you don't understand your learner's problems, how to find solutions. First, we try to to find the problem, and then we try to find the solutions. And this is the last paragraph. I make it clear to my colleague, of course, teachers and to students that I continually want to learn and improve, so they can feel comfortable with the fact that the improvement as a writer never ends. This belief is a derivative of Socrates. As for me, all I know that I know nothing. It reminds me that students learn best when a teacher, coach, facilitator, let's say process approach, empowers them to discover that our doing of things, specifically their own process of writing and communication. Since I believe in that for myself, I can honestly pass the value on that to my colleagues and to my students, which is an awesome response to in the development of the students as effective communicators and critical thinkers. Criticize our learners, composition should be avoided. Let's say constant correction should be avoided, while praise them is essential. Such praise will create trust through which, as we EFL teachers, we learn from our learners. Let's say we are old, we still learn from our learners. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed watching this video. You can watch more videos on www.emw-edu.com. Don't forget like and share. Bye.